This is ABC 15 Mornings.
Next on ABC 15 Mornings on CW61 Arizona, taking action to stop the youth suicide epidemic. A new documentary produced by ASU students takes a closer look at the issue. And this morning we're speaking with an expert on what families should know.
All right, well, happening today, a united effort to help fight the growing epidemic of youth suicide. A half-hour student-produced documentary called Life Is will air tonight on ABC 15 Arizona. And it takes a look at youth suicide rates here in our state and what experts believe can be done to stop it. So Nikki Kontz, the clinical director of Teen Lifeline, is joining us this morning. Nikki, we appreciate you being here with us to talk about this very important topic here. Now, initially, I want to jump in here. There were concerns about youth and teen suicide before the pandemic. So how has the isolation that's come along with COVID-19 here affected the epidemic?
You know, what we've seen at Teen Lifeline and in our crisis hotline is that we have had more phone calls and texts than ever before in our history. And while that is alarming for many, the other part of that is that more than ever, kids are reaching out. So that is great news. And we know that the same goes with all the other resources that are out there for families in crisis and that are struggling. But what we do know is that our highest amount of calls have to do with issues of depression, anxiety, isolation, loneliness, and 1 in 3 of our calls on the hotline have to do with a child thinking of suicide.
Oh, wow. You know, so as a parent, as an aunt, and as an adult, or as somebody, even as just a friend of somebody who is struggling right now, what are those signs we should be looking out for?
You know, the number one thing is to pay attention to behavior or sudden mood change. For kids, it could be behavior change. Like maybe they're not on their phones like they used to be, or maybe all of a sudden they're spending actually more time on technology than they were a week ago. And even during the pandemic times, it's important to look at that because kids and people are getting a little tired of technology, a little technology exhaustion. But pay attention to drastic mood swings, maybe not wanting to be around other people, wanting to be even more isolated. And it's important that more than ever right now that we're checking in with each other, that we're checking in with our kids and asking them open questions of, you know, how are things really going on? Let's talk about how this has been affecting you. You know, it's affecting all of us, and so it's important for our kids to also know that they're not alone in that. But to be a teenager during a pandemic, it's a lonely and isolated feeling for them.
Yeah, and you kind of just did touch on this a little bit, but I wanted to go into more of that conversation, you know, asking about it, but it's so hard. It's such an emotional topic. So how do we get the conversation started? You know, I think the thing that's hardest for adults and for parents is that we want to quickly fix what's going on with our child, and we want to quickly go in and say, well, just do this, but it's about really listening openly and asking those open questions of how are you? What is your experience? To understand that right now, to be an expert at being a teenager, only our teenagers have that experience in a pandemic. Making sure that we're checking in, and if we even asking, are you having thoughts or have you had thoughts of giving up? If you're worried about your child, asking openly, have you had thoughts of suicide? And really, you know, as a family, this is a great opportunity to really focus on building those coping strategies, finding new activities, and helping your child maybe try new things out that they wouldn't have otherwise done. Yeah, and you know, them knowing that you're there for them. It's about wanting to help and not wanting to invade. You know, sometimes they get a little touchy about their personal space, but it really is about having a safe space to talk about it and be open. Okay, so if somebody you love is thinking about hurting themselves, how can we get them help? You know, if someone you know is having thoughts of suicide, or just you feel like you're having those thoughts of giving up in any capacity, please, you can reach out to Teen Lifeline if it's a teenager you're worried about on our hotline, or texting at 602-2418. There's for adults, if you're worried about another adult in your life, there is the Maricopa Crisis Line, which is 602-222-9444.
All right, and we do have that information that we are going to put up, and we have been putting up. Nikki, just want to let everyone know that as well. So, Nikki with Teen Lifeline, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Such an important topic, and I want to get to this documentary that is going to be airing tonight. You can watch the documentary Life Is, produced by students at the ASU Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. It features the state's leading psychologists and educators looking at both the causes but also the solutions here. There is hope, and we hope that you are going to join us for this special program tonight at 6:30 on ABC 15 Arizona. Nikki, again, thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Justin?